at night, when my parents weren't around, somebody would come up with the idea of organizing a circle jerk. Hi, this is Mike Balaban. Thanks for joining me on another episode of BAMMER Tales. Today I'd like to focus on our childhoods, at least the childhoods of those of us who grew up to be LGBTQ. When we're younger, we often have experiences that we don't realize indicate that we're likely to grow up to be different. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, queer, whatever you want to call it. We have these experiences, and at the time, we don't realize their significance. When you look back on your childhood, you realize, wow, that was when I first began to manifest my attraction to others of the same sex. Or when I first began to realize, you know what, I don't feel comfortable in the body I've been born into. So let's take my life, for example. I'll give you a couple of instances where now looking back on it, I realize that they indicated I was going to grow up gay. When I was 5, my family and I lived in a very conservative part of the southern United States. We were the only Jewish family in the county. It was a very religious Baptist and Methodist region. And we were sent to a kindergarten outside of town where my parents dropped me off every day. And at age 5, I remember one time we went out to recess or lunch, and there was a boy, Andy, and a girl, Sherry, and the three of us decided we wanted to play doctor, where you expose your genitalia to each other. And I was excited to see Andy with his pants down, but I was mortified at the prospect of showing my own genitalia because I had a small mole in my groin, and to me it manifested everything about myself that I was ashamed of, everything that was different. So I made the excuse that I would watch out for the kindergarten teacher and stood behind the big oak tree, making sure she didn't interrupt us, but covetously eyeing Andy as he exposed himself. That was the first example. The second was about 5 years later when I was 10. My younger siblings and I were driven every day to the local high school where we boarded a bus with other children and were driven 10 miles away to a recreational complex with a pool and a restaurant. During the day we'd swim, we'd have lunch, we'd relax, and then get driven back to the high school in the afternoon and picked up our parents. One day my brother, who was about 7 when I was 10, my brother and I went around the outside of the complex, outside the fence that surrounded it, and discovered a doorway with a toggle switch, which when we snuck inside it was a kind of a crawl space between the men's and women's locker rooms. And there we were at 7 and 10 years of age, each eyeing through a peephole into the men's and women's dressing room. I was waving at him, come over and take a look at this. And he was saying, no, you come and take a look at this. And on some level, I knew I shouldn't be sharing that I was attracted to boys, but maybe I thought he was my brother, he might understand. Years later, he would say to me, I couldn't figure out why you just didn't go into the men's locker room and look. But of course, he didn't realize we couldn't do that openly. Both of those examples show that at an age of 5 and an age of 10, I was already drawn to boys affectionately. It wasn't about sex or hormones. It was strictly wanting to be close to a boy rather than a girl. You can read a little bit more of this if you're interested on our website, bammer.co, where I write up a story about how when I was 12 and had a group of my boy friends out to our cattle ranch for a sleepover on my birthday each year, we would organize circle jerks, group masturbations, and that was where my same-sex interest really began to manifest itself more clearly. We used to hold sleepovers at my cattle ranch on our farm on the night of my birthday, and I would invite 10 or 12 of my boy friends to come spend the night there. We'd play in the barn, in the hayloft, we'd go down to the pond, and end up, at night when my parents weren't around, somebody would come up with the idea of organizing a circle jerk, essentially a group masturbation. And the same thing happened. I organized it, and I stood at the door and guarded against my parents discovering us. But I was watching zealously each of them because both I was attracted to them and afraid of them realizing it. And also I hadn't yet learned how to masturbate and was afraid that would become too clear. In any event, what are your examples of experiences you had that let you realize later on in life that very early your preferences were brewing. Feel free to share them in the comment section. Please subscribe to this page if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for additional episodes to come in the future. I'm Mike Balaban. This is BAMMER.co and BAMMER 47. Thank you for watching. Bye. Hi, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. There's lots of content coming that you won't want to miss. Please also like and comment if you have topics you'd like for us to discuss. Thanks a lot. See you next time. With much love and gratitude. Goodbye.